As you think about the idea of experience, I want you to personalize it. It's not necessarily just between you and your customers, it's between you and everybody you interact with. You are creating an experience that other people are living into. You are creating a context. So how you behave in a meeting, whether or not you smile and say hello to somebody in the hallway as you're passing from one meeting to the next, you are creating experiences for your colleagues. Now, of course, you're creating experiences for your customers in terms of how they come through your channels and how they buy your products and how they interact with you. But I want you to take that to a very, very personal level. You create experience. Right now, you're creating an experience for the other people at your table based on what you're doing, what you're not doing, whether you're paying attention, whether you're doing other work. I know it's life, this is how it goes. But you're creating an experience. We're all always creating an experience. And that has everything to do with the words that we're choosing, our nonverbal communication, the behavior that we exhibit. So be thinking about creating intentional experience. I was invited into an organization to work with Sean, not his real name. His real name was Tim. Now, Sean was an engineer, and much like the Peter Principle, he had been promoted to his level of incompetence. Sean was not a people person. A brilliant engineer, yes. Manager, not so much. So his organization brought me in to work with Sean and a few others in the organization. And some of what I shared with Sean are some of the same things I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. Now, a recent study shows that the average employee wastes 8 hours of productive business time avoiding a difficult conversation. 8 hours, that's a lot of time. Now, in the average marriage, we spend about 25 years avoiding a difficult conversation.
When we're at odds with each other and we're not able to reach agreement, if we can find some agreement in our body language and in our tone of voice, the person feels heard. They feel connected to us, and then it's a little bit easier to sometimes reach agreement with the words part if we're at odds with each other. When we're listening, it's so important to be in sync with one another. Now, it doesn't mean, again, if we overemphasize our mirroring of somebody else's nonverbal communication or tone of voice, it gets pretty weird pretty fast. But if just for 15 seconds or 30 seconds, and the research shows up to 90 seconds, you can mirror up to 90 seconds before people start to get weirded out by what you're doing, that we can very quickly establish rapport with somebody.
Now, I recently had an opportunity where I saw myself differently. It was a few months ago. I was on spring break with my family and some friends. And it was our last day on spring break. And I walked back into the condo and I was washing my hands before lunch. I just had a nice long walk on the beach with the 2 other moms that we were with. And as I washed my hands in the bathroom sink and I glanced in the mirror, I saw something I hadn't seen for a while. Sure, I saw a tangle of humidity-induced curls and saltwater tangles and sunburned skin and really, really sunburned lips. But I also saw a look of peace and contentment and bliss that I hadn't seen in a really long time. So I walked out of the bathroom, over to the living room where the lighting was better, because I wanted to capture that moment. My daughter was sitting on the couch. "What you doing, Mama?" "Taking a selfie." Moms are so weird. "Hey, hon, I gotta tell you something. This look right here, this is me, relaxed and blissful and happy and content and filled with joy. And I hope that when you're my age, you have lots and lots of moments when you look like this. And in the meantime, I'm taking this selfie so that I don't forget to schedule next spring break. Can we go to the Bahamas?"
Janel Anderson brings the audience along for a fantastic exploratory ride as she creates memorable encounters that will be talked about long after your event is over. She gets the audience rising up out of their seats and even on stage as they begin to immediately apply the concepts she shares during the session. You will leave inspired with new tools you can effectively use to boost confidence and improve communication. The result? An unforgettable transformation of thoughts and actions.
Every time I take the stage, my job is to give actionable content, to deliver rock-solid, research-based content that people can put into place in their jobs the very next day. That's what I deliver every single time.
What would it be like if we were able to be straight with each other more? What would it be like? Would we be able to create that life that we loved? That life that was richer and fuller and that had everything in it that we wanted? Because we were able to ask for it? I think that's available. I think that's available to us. And to get that rich, full life that has everything that we want in it, it is going to require that we take on some of those difficult topics in order to get our needs met, in order to create the space for the big, beautiful life that we want to live. It's moments like those where we give other people a glimpse into how we see them that is going to change how they see themselves. And when they see themselves and they hear us saying how we see them, when they see themselves just a little bit differently, it's going to change the way they look into the mirror. A final thought I want to leave you with is if we can bring into the world just a little more of this acknowledgement, a little more acceptance and a little less judgment, we are going to change the world, one conversation and one comment at a time. It starts with you, and it starts with me, and it starts with how we look into that mirror.
Whether you need a high-energy speaker on a big stage in front of thousands of people, or a strategic advisor in an intimate setting with your leadership team, I'd love to visit with you to see if I'm the right fit. So give us a call. When my message is the right fit with your audience, we really can change the world, one conversation at a time.